Any organization that has Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Obama as their leader will have a 19% approval rating. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but I have to start with the most astounding clip of this entire interview. Here's Hakeem saying he knows that crime is a problem. He wants crime to get solved. He just doesn't want Donald Trump to be the one to do it.
Do you think it's manufactured that Americans, even likely in the city of Chicago, are worried about crime?
Of course, people are going to be worried about public safety all across America. I represent a community that for decades has had to deal with the crack cocaine epidemic, the failed war on drugs, gunshots going off at different points in time in communities. So, of course, all of us will continue to focus on making sure we can drive down crime whenever and wherever it is taking place. This is not about the American people. The American people understandably want safer communities. As Democrats, we want safer communities. Crime can go down as it's doing in Chicago, in New York, in Washington, D.C., and other places.
Out of all the delusional, destructive lunacy the Democrats believe in, being against fighting crime might be the most unforgivable belief that they hold. It's either that or trying to force kids to change their gender. But Democrats are so ideologically blinded that they want Donald Trump to fail at improving the lives and well-beings of their own constituents, because they know that if Donald Trump succeeds at that, the people are going to love him. A lot of people who up until this point still oppose Donald Trump will start to say, I can walk the streets without getting mugged, without being scared. I can take my kids to the park without being heckled and harassed by homeless people. Well, shit, if this is what fascism looks like, count me in. The Democrats don't realize people aren't going to care about being called a Nazi by some deranged blue-haired leftist if being a Nazi means you don't have to worry about your wife and children being attacked by a psychopath that the Democrats are letting just roam the streets. We already know Democrats hate Americans. They hate actual citizens. But this stance that they're taking absolutely cements it, because they're willing to play with people's lives, with people's safety, just for politics. Now, I want to do something that I've never done before because I think this is such an important topic. I want to share with you guys a conversation that I had from my personal Facebook and how truly out of touch Democrats are on this issue. I was mentioning to the person in this conversation how Washington, D.C., a city that has a murder every other day, hasn't had one in the last 10 days since Trump deployed the National Guard. And just take a look at how pretentious these Trump deranged liberals are. He writes, I would argue that having troops marching through the streets in American cities is a huge losing issue for Americans. I just can't see how people aren't watching all of this unfold and not realizing that it's straight out of the rise of Nazi Germany playbook. To which I respond, so trying to stop crime is fascism? You look at a city with high crime statistics and don't want it solved because only authoritarians want to crack down on crime? He says, with troops in the streets, that's not what a functioning democracy does. You want to cut down on crime, fine. Better fund police or any number of other programs to prevent crime. Instead, the go-to is to sick troops on homeless people. And this is where I had enough and said, this is a very ivory tower position to have. It's a common theme with Democrats and why Trump blew them out of the water in the less than $100,000 vote. Tell that to the mothers whose kids have been gunned down in drive-bys and caught in the middle of petty gang beefs or had their houses lit up with bullets. Tell them their safety should be slow walk through sluggish policy debate instead of being solved right now just because people who don't experience daily danger have declared their ideological concerns and comforts are more important. And that's the problem with the Democrats only being against Donald Trump. They don't have an alternative plan to combat crime right now. Everything they say is more funding for social services, more after-school programs, more financial literacy classes. We need to address the economic disparity in low-income areas, gentrification, all these nebulous ideas that would take 5, 10, 15 years to see any kind of change. Donald Trump is offering a solution today, right now. instantly effective. But Democrats would much rather have mothers and fathers and children die endlessly and needlessly for the next decade just because their hatred for Donald Trump trumps the love that they have for their own people. But now back to Walmart Obama. Here is the CNN host calling him a hypocrite for being mad at Texas redistricting.
I want to move on to other issues, but first I do just have to ask, you talk a lot about Texas, as do other Democrats. You supported a move in your state of New York where Democrats, or you wanted to throw out congressional maps that were drawn by the state's independent redistricting commission. You praised New York's state legislature for redrawing new ones. Is criticizing Texas hypocritical given what you push for in your own state?
Yeah, so let's go into the actual facts. The map was not drawn by the Independent Redistricting Commission. The map was drawn by a special master who was put into place by a random right-wing judge in Steuben County. That was problem number one.
So I looked it up, and what the host is referring to is New York actually used to have more Republicans in the House of Representatives than Democrats. But of course, prior to the 2022 midterms, New York released new maps that gave the Democrats a majority again. And I'll admit, they aren't as gerrymandered as Illinois and California, but the point still stands that the Democrats play the exact same game. They're hypocrites on both fronts. They claim that gerrymandering inhibits free and fair elections. It disenfranchises voters and suppresses the true sentiment of the population. Well, if that's what they believe, then why do they engage in it egregiously? But then they'll say, oh, no, that's common. Redistricting happens. It's that the Republicans are doing it in the middle of a decade. Okay, so you're admitting you're a hypocrite and don't care about disenfranchising voters. You're just upset that the Republicans are doing it at a time that the Democrats are historically unpopular. Not to mention you're mad that the Republicans didn't handcuff themselves with woke virtue signaling and didn't establish these independent redistricting committees to show how nice and kind and compassionate they were and that politics couldn't be played here in this state. And what they're doing is perfectly legal under their state constitution. They're just mad that it's happening now and they're out of moves and they have no way to combat it. But this is where the host asks Hakeem Jeffries about the brutal New York Times report that shows that Democrats are hemorrhaging voters in every state that tracks them, and Hakeem copes so hard.
Speaking of math, I do want to ask about a New York Times investigation showing that Democrats are losing registered voters in all 30 states that track party registration. We're putting on the screen the data. It shows altogether Democrats have lost 2.1 million voters. Republicans have gained 2.4 million. That's a deficit that you have of 4.5 million voters. Why are voters turning away from your party? What is the problem?
Because y'all stupid and retarded.
Most of that activity, as I understand it, has occurred in Florida and Texas. And certainly it is the case that nationally we're going to have to invest more in these two red states. At the end of the day, it's also going to be important for us to continue to make clear to the American people what we stand for as Democrats.
First off, this isn't a money issue. The Democrats can't spin their way out of every problem. That's their issue. Kamala Harris just proved that, raising $1.5 billion, blowing it in 90 days, and still getting blown out of the water in the election. But even if it was a money problem, as I reported in my previous video, the Democrat National Committee is almost out of money, probably because they're wasting it on paying consultants $20 million to tell them how to engage with young men. They legitimately still don't think that they're the problem. It's a messaging problem. It's a we're not fighting Donald Trump hard enough problem. We're not capturing the energy of the socialist left problem. No, it's a Democrats are condescending assholes with horrible ideas problem. Not to mention Texas wasn't even included in that report because they don't track voter registration data. Florida accounted for a lot of Republican gains, sure, but what about the other 29 states where Republicans gained and Democrats lost? I'm telling you, man, if the Democrats don't open their eyes, they're going to wake up one day and the entire United States map is going to be red. People are going to be enjoying their good jobs, their booming 401ks, their cultural unity and national pride, their safe and clean streets. And the Democrats are still going to be screaming about how the guy that gave them all that is somehow an evil dictator. They're just going to throw their hands up and say, I guess evil dictatorship it is. But here the host presses Hakeem Jeffries about New York's plan to maybe do some extreme gerrymandering to combat what the Republicans are doing, and she will not let him escape this question. This is pure comedy.
You met with your governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, last month about possibly redrawing New York's maps. Is this something you can even do in New York? And if so, how many seats could you gain? And could you do it before the midterms?
Well, good morning. It's great to be with you. I've been in touch, of course, with Governor Kathy Hochul as well as the legislative leaders. House Democrats are going to respond from coast to coast and at all points in between, as has been done in California, forcefully, immediately, and appropriately to make sure that Donald Trump cannot steal the midterm elections.
Okay, can you be more specific? Let's just talk about New York, where you obviously have a window into what's going on there. We know what California is doing. They're going to try to get this on the ballot. What can you do in New York? Is it even feasible to redraw the maps before the midterms?
Okay, I had to pause it there because I just love how she was like, okay, why are we talking about all this other stuff? Can you be specific? You're a congressman from New York. Can we talk about New York? And let me know in the comments below if you think Walmart Obama adheres to her request to answer the question directly. Let's roll the clip.
Texas acted in a way to try and rig the congressional maps so they could add a couple of different seats to the Republican column. Understand that Republicans right now have the narrowest majority, just a 3-seat majority of any party since the Great Depression. And they have no track record of accomplishment to be able to successfully run on, which is why they are running scared. California responded forcefully thanks to the leadership of the governor, the legislative leaders, the members of the California congressional delegation led by Zoe Lofgren and Pete Aguilar, and we will continue to respond when necessary across the country. Right now, this has happened in Texas. California has responded. Let's see what comes next.
So is there not a plan yet in New York? Is that what I'm hearing?
If you guys are enjoying this video, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing if you have not already. Hakeem Jeffries is just awful. The host said what every single person thinks in their head the moment they're done hearing one of these Democrat Kamala Harris word salads. Oh, so you don't have a plan. They think we're stupid. We're just gonna get caught in their rambling. Hear a whole bunch of meaningless words and surmise our own meaning from it. No, there was no meaning. There was no substance. There was no answer to her question. And I bet she feels frustrated that Hakeem Jeffries is just up here wasting everybody's time. You don't answer questions. And when you do answer questions, you're lying. When you do answer questions and you're not lying, you're being a hypocrite. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if Hakeem Jeffries was the leader of any organization, you could see how it would also be historically unpopular. You see why the Democrat philosophy was so hell-bent on destroying meritocracy. These people would all be burger flippers, and no disrespect to burger flippers, because I've been a burger flipper. Actually, I take that back. I don't even think they could be burger flippers. They would be all chronically unemployed. I don't see why Hakeem Jeffries is still doing these interviews. This has been the exact same result 3 weeks running. Everybody's been asking him the same questions, pressing him on the same topics, and he hasn't formulated a response yet. He hasn't even refined his word salad ramble into something more convincing. And now this last clip that I'm gonna play for you is a perfect illustration of that. I'm just gonna let this clip run for a little bit so you guys can enjoy Hakeem's humiliation. Here's the host pressing him on why he won't endorse socialist Zohran Mamdani.
You have yet to endorse Zohran Mamdani, who, of course, your party elected about 2 months ago to be the Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City. As a New Yorker, what does he need to do to secure your endorsement?
Well, we had a very candid and constructive and community-centered conversation a few weeks ago before he went off to Africa. I've, of course, been on the road for the last several weeks, dealing in part with the Republican effort to try to rig the midterm elections through their gerrymandering scheme. But Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and myself are scheduled to sit down with him in the next few days I look forward to that conversation.
What do you want to hear from him? What's missing? I mean, it's pretty, just for context, it's pretty unusual for a high-ranking Democrat like yourself to withhold the endorsement of your party's nominee for candidate for New York City mayor. So what are you hoping to hear from him that you haven't yet?
I don't think we've withheld an endorsement. We are engaging in a conversation about the future of New York City, about the issues that need to be addressed, particularly the housing crisis. And the Assemblyman has actually spoken pretty forcefully and strongly about the need to deal with affordability in the city of New York. Of course, we've got to figure out moving forward how we turn proposals into actual plans so that he is successful if he becomes the next mayor, because we need the city to be successful, and certainly the communities that I represent, which have been subjected to gentrification and housing displacement. These are all issues to be worked through, and we'll continue to work through them. As I mentioned, we're sitting down next week.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that he hasn't denounced using the term or supporting the term globalize the Intifada?
Well, listen, I've raised several of the issues with him privately as well as publicly, spoken about some of the concerns that I've had. But at this particular moment, we're going to keep those conversations moving forward. They will continue to be candid and constructive, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with him.
I don't think I've ever heard a Democrat answer
A woman is a woman.
I can't hear you.
A woman is a woman.
And a woman, and what is it exactly?
A woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
With what?
Who identifies as a woman. That's
Identify?
Mm-hmm.
Identify or born as a woman?
Identify. Your sex is what you're assigned at birth. Your being a woman is your identity.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you were born as a woman by God, right?
Sure.
That's your sex. Are you saying that?
Sure.
But then if you were born as something else other than a woman, you decide you want to act and be like a woman, are you saying that's a real woman?
I am.
You were saying that's
Yes.
Even though they don't have they weren't born with the woman stuff?
Mm-hmm.
You joking with me?
I believe it.
You tell me the truth what the cameras are, right?
I'm telling you the truth right now.
Does your father know you think this way?
Yes.
You close to him?
Yes.
What does he say about that?
He agrees.
He agree with you that if a person think that they're something else, they're that. Man, what is a woman?
I don't know if anyone really knows that. You know, people used to say it meant 2 X chromosomes, but then there's trans people and then there's intersex people. I think ultimately it's someone who identifies as a woman, and it's your choice how you identify.
So, for example, there are a lot of males who identify as a woman. Are they really women, or do they just think that they are? But in reality, they are not.
I think that it's really a personal identity, and that if you feel you are a woman, you are, because I don't think anyone has even agreed on a biological definition.
What is a man?
The question is too vague. A lot of your questions are super vague. They're confusing.
They sound quite clear to me.
No.
What is a man?
In regards to what?
To a man.
I mean, usually men have a penis.
Have what?
A penis. Usually, but not always. That's why it's like I'm apprehensive. Some people don't.
Oh, I see.
Some people aren't even born with them. Or
I forgot about this other weird stuff that's happening. What is a woman?
Same thing.
What?
Woman is an identity you can identify as.
So did you know before today you didn't know what a woman was, right?
I guess I didn't.
So did you know that prior to now that you did not know what a woman was?
Oh God. I don't know. I guess I could sit and think about a definition. I don't know, because it's difficult because you want to be inclusive of trans people and non-binary people. So I can't just be like,
Why
being a
not?
woman is these primary sex characteristics or secondary sex characteristics or your chromosomes or whatever. I think it's a mix of all of those things, and it's also a mix of who you feel or what you feel like you are. So being a woman and being a man and being neither or both is different. It's such a different experience for everyone. And I am so cisgender. I've always felt like I am a woman and I want to be more womanly and like all of these things. So it's hard for me
That's a whole
to
lot.
imagine what it would feel like to not be a woman. So I'm just like, I mean, it just feels this
So,
way. I have no idea.
It's hard for you to say what a woman is because you don't want to offend the people who are confused about their sexual identity.
It's not that I don't want to offend them. It's that I want to include them because they
Why?
are a part. They're a part of
they're
the
messed up.
conversation about. Did you just say trans people are messed
Yeah,
up?
they're like abnormal. You know, like they've been traumatized. Why would you not identify what a real woman is because people who are confused about who they are might be offended, when you might be able to help them by really identifying what a woman is and what a man is, and they may think about it and overcome their traumas.
Did you just say real woman?
Right.
So you think that there are women that aren't real women?
Yes.
Okay, like what?
A lesbian
A lesbian's not a
or
real woman?
transgender. Do you think men who take off the body parts and put on women body parts, you know, like breasts and all that, and put on dresses, are they women or are they still are they women or are they still men?
Sorry, ask the question again.
You know how they're transgenders?
Uh-huh.
Let me do this. Transgenders now, and they're confused about their identity. So you heard of Bruce Jenner, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know Bruce is a man. Well, he took off the body part. Where you going?
I'm leaving
Why are you leaving?
because
What?
what you're saying is extremely offensive, and I'm not going to sit here for
What?
it.
Come and tell me why.
Nope.
You're running?
Yep.
So for me, I'm black and slow. What is a non-binary exactly?
Somebody who does not identify exclusively as a man or a woman. So someone might identify as not a man or a woman. They might identify as both non-binary and a man or a woman. It just means that they don't subscribe to the gender binary.
Oh, I see. So do you sometimes identify as a male?
No.
You always identify as a female, but sometimes as nothing.
Right.
What does nothing feel like? What is a man?
What is it?
Yeah, what is a man?
What is a man?
You don't know?
Do you?
Do you know what a man is?
Are you one?
Do you know what a man is?
Are you a man?
Is that your responsibility?
Are you a man?
So that's your
I'm
responsibility?
asking you. You answer me, then I'll answer you.
No, I'm asking you what is a man?
Are you a man?
So what is love?
What is a man?
What is love?
What is it?
What are you doing? You're not going to answer the question.
I'll answer your
You're
question.
about guys. You're the expert. You're the doctor. You're
but
supposed to
it's
be
your
answering
interview.
these questions.
Well, if
What
you
is a
tell me
man?
what you tell me what a man is, and then I can tell you whether I believe that a man is what you think it is or whether it's not.
Do you know what it is?
I do.
What is it?
What is you? Tell me your definition. I'll tell you if I agree with you.
You're not going to answer that because we're running out of time and you're wasting my time.
Well, it's a waste of your time. Well, I can leave if it's a waste of your time.
Do you want to tell me what
Is this a waste of your time?
Why is it a waste of time?
Okay.
So you don't know what a man is?
I do.
What is a man?
What kind of test is this? What is a man? What is a man? That's a rhetorical question.
When women take off their female body parts, they go to the doctor cut them off, cut it off, and then you look over here, you get the parts of a male, and you attach them to the woman. That seem normal to you?
Transgender is among the most complicated issues in a society that benefits men over every other understanding of gender. But I dare not say to someone else, this you can and cannot do with your own body.
Give me a quick yes or no. Does it seem normal to you?
It's certainly more normal now than it was 50 years ago. Yes.
So does it seem normal to you when you have to cut off your body part and put on somebody else's part?
I would have a long discussion with each individual person and say that. But
does that seem normal to you?
You've got too much hidden in the word normal.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you mean by normal.
Does it seem normal to you that you will have to, as a human being, you will have to cut off your physical parts and take on some other gender's parts?
I hope that everyone can.
No, I didn't ask what you hope. I'm asking, does that seem normal?
Yeah, and I'm going to still go with hope. I hope that everyone gets to behave the way they want to without social
But
sanction.
does it seem normal?
It's not common.
Do you like being a man?
Yes.
You do like being a man, but thinking like a woman.
I don't think I think like a woman. I think like a man.
No, you don't. I'm here to tell you, you don't.
I think what you're trying to say is I appear to be thinking in feminine ways.
No, you think like a woman.
I don't think so.
I want to be real clear.
Okay.
You think like a woman. Are you a man?
I think so.
And what is a man?
I don't know. What is a man?
No, I'm asking you. You might guess.
I don't know.
You don't. Well, why do you think you're one if you don't know what it is?
That's a good question. Maybe I'm not a man. What is a man?
So you really don't know what a man is?
I don't know how you're using it.
No. We're having a conversation.
I don't know how you're using it.
You are a popular blogger, right?
I'm a podcaster.
I mean, a podcaster. So what is a man? You say you are a man.
A biological man? Are you mean a gender man? Are you talking about biological sciences? Are you talking about from an evolutionary perspective? Are you talking about culturally what is a man? This is why these words are so...
So you don't know what a man is?
Right. Let's go with that.
So then why do you think that you are a man if you don't know what it is?
This is silly, Jesse. What do you mean? What is a man?
You don't know what it is.
The male of the human species? Is that what you mean? You're talking about biological?
You do realize I'm asking a male if he's a man or not, and he has no idea what it is.
Well, the word man is very vague.
And what is a woman?
I know what this woman is, but
would you know what a woman was if you didn't know what this one was? So your mother wasn't an example of what a real woman was, or is?
Sure.
So you had seen a real woman prior to meeting your wife, right?
I've seen many.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I would have a hard time shoehorning them all into one box. I've also worked alongside the most gentle, tender nurses in disaster zones who are also women. I mean, women is a pretty big category.
You mentioned the military often. In the military today, you now have men who think that they're women. They're having sex change, and you have drag queens and women who act like men, and it's a mess. Would you want to end up in a foxhole with a drag queen?
Absolutely.
With a drag queen?
Yes.
Anne-Marie, what is a man?
Oh dear, am I allowed to say those words on?
Yes.
I think someone with different biological parts maybe than I have.
Other than the biological part, what is a man?
I'm not very good at stereotyping. I know a lot of men. I know about the man I'm lucky enough to share a home with, and he's.
No, I just want to know what
tremendous.
is a man. For those who don't know, because that's a big issue in America today. Most people don't really seem to know what a man is anymore. What is a man?
Yeah, I haven't thought a lot about it.
I wanted to ask you this too, and I wanted to ask this on my radio show.
Please.
If a woman decides that, I feel like a man, and I want to be a man, and she goes to a doctor, rushes down the road to a doctor's office, he take off her female body parts and attach male body parts to them, to her. Would that make her a male?
Would it make her male, or would it make her a man?
Either one.
Depends how you define either, right?
All right. Would it make her a man or a male? Would she still be a woman with body part of a man?
I mean, it'd be a transgender man.
But would it be a woman? It would make her a man?
It would be a transgender man, I think.
What does that mean?
It means it's someone who was born biologically female, wouldn't it?
Right.
This isn't my area of expertise.
Right.
I'm interested
But
in
just
the conversation.
normal people, you know right from wrong when you see it, right?
Do I know right from wrong? I don't know. Do I?
You don't know if you know right from wrong?
I think people want to know what's right and what's wrong, but if everybody knew right from wrong, no bad things would ever happen, right?
But how about you? Do you know right from wrong?
I feel like I do.
And so if you knew a female who took off her female body parts and attached a male body part to them, would you think, wow, that's a man, or would you still know that's a woman?
Depends on the person, right? Depends what they look like and sort of how they exist.
Well, how
in the
about a
world.
woman that you knew her very well? She said, David, you and I are good friends. Today I'm going to become a man.
Okay.
I'm going down to the doctor's office there and have some male body parts attached.
Right.
Would you think that your friend is a woman or a man?
I mean, my reaction would be radical empathy. I would say, oh, wow, that's a major change. Like, what's going on that's making you want to do that? And I would listen to them with empathy.
Well, would you know it's still a woman, or would you think it's a man? Would
Hard
you
to say.
think it's a man?
Hard to say. I mean, every person.
Double down on the inanity in the following comment. I have got to run this by you. You may have heard it. Here it is, 5 last night.
It's not about justice. You know how I know it's not about justice? Because I have the best attorney in the country, I believe, to deal with this, who takes on this administration without fear at all. And this attorney has worked with some of the worst accused criminals in history. And even those people, just like Donald Trump, who is a 34-time convicted felon, are always allowed usually to self-report. In these situations, while you see the activists in Minneapolis or Minnesota, while you see a perp walk, which they were supposed to get rid of that, right? Because they said they were unconstitutional. Why you see that? Because they want those images out there. They want to embarrass people. Same situation. If they had come here to do that, they wouldn't let me self-report. And so when I asked counsel and people, well, why is this happening? And one person who I respect the most, this doesn't come from my counsel, who I really respect, said, because they're giving you the N-word treatment.
Okay.
Thoughts on that, Harmeet?
I mean, who thinks Don Lemon is a victim? Who thinks that we're giving him the N-word treatment? That's really offensive to me as a person who grew up in the Deep South and saw the Klan in my town when I was growing up. Like Don Lemon living in the Hamptons or whatever, you are not ever being subjected to that kind of treatment. That's absurd. Secondly, thank you for, continuing to talk and reveal attorney-client privilege communications. That's super helpful. I really appreciate it. And Abby Lowell, his lawyer, had nothing to do with the magistrate judge refusing to sign off on arresting Don Lemon. So you have to understand that we at the Department of Justice these days, in the most aggressive and important fights that we're facing, we're kind of outmanned 2 against 1. He didn't even need a lawyer. The magistrate judge was kind of standing in as judge and jury. His role, by the way, is a gatekeeper, is a probable cause. His role is not the jury's role, and his role is not to give commentary or opinion on it. And so I do think that the magistrate judge was out of line. And so we will see. Yeah. We will see. There are many more moves to be had here. And Don Lemon keeps running his mouth, and I really appreciate it.
It's so unusual for a magistrate to not sign off on there being probable cause and issue the warrant. I mean, every lawyer that we've talked to, and that we have a lot of them in our MK Media network, former prosecutors, former defense and current defense attorneys saying this is unheard of virtually. I mean, unless there's absolutely no case. And there is obviously probable cause for both the FACE Act and the conspiracy against rights charges for Lemon. So, I mean, was it nakedly partisan, Harmeet? I know you're limited somewhat in what you want to say, but was it obviously a partisan thing?
Well, let me state with regard to the FACE Act, first of all, like Attorney General Keith Ellison, many lawyers and even apparently now magistrates and judges are entirely ignorant of the second half of the FACE Act, which is protecting houses of worship. Why is that? Because all they've ever heard of is Obama and Biden, DOJ going after pro-life protesters, using that law, praying outside abortion clinics, an abuse of the FACE Act. Those are the headlines. And frankly, on the right, Republican attorneys general and prosecutors didn't bring these claims. That's also a fail. Okay, so now we're using it the way it's supposed to have been used, and so to a degree they're ignorant. On the Klan Act, it is a venerable statute with a long and storied and very important history. I really respect this law. It is one of our oldest, perhaps the oldest civil rights law that I am charged with administering here at the United States Department of Justice. And it dates back to an era where local law enforcement and state law enforcement was weaponized against people of color in this country after the emancipation of the slaves. And so, this is exactly the purpose for which it was intended to be used. Conspiracy to violate somebody else's civil rights. Is there any more fundamental civil right, Megan, than the right to pray to God peacefully in a house of worship? It is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. It is the basis on which this country was founded. And so I look forward to getting convictions under both of these statutes eventually against all the people charged.
Let me read you what Matt Murphy said to us. He's part of our MK True Crime Network, and he's a lifetime prosecutor out in Orange County. And he said the following. He said, in 26 years as a prosecutor, I never saw a judge actually reject an arrest warrant. This will be an Obama, Biden, Clinton appointee. This is before we knew. Two-tier justice activist judge, guaranteed. And then he said, terrifying children like this is ghoulish. It's clearly a federal crime. The guy filmed himself in the parking lot, and he said, these are, well, sanctimonious lefty blank holes. I think you would agree with all of that. Do we know, because you point out, like, the magistrate is not like a nominated judge by a sitting president. So was it a Democrat who chose this magistrate judge and put him on their bench?
So let me explain to your audience how magistrate judges work. I've gone before many of them, and often we lawyers who are looking for a speedy resolution of our cases, we stipulate to
Oh, you woke up.
Yeah.
You okay?
I'm fine. Good morning. How's everything going?
On my way to stop number 2.
Oh, okay.
Just getting it done. I'm in the middle of nowhere.
I'm glad you was able to pick up.
What?
I'm glad you were able to pick up.
Yeah, I got signal. Coming in. I'm 20 minutes from noon and 30 minutes from I got another 30 minutes to go to the second stop. But yeah, I got bar. Well, I got one bar. I had to hook up to the Wi-Fi over the first stop because I ain't have shit. I got one bar right now.
Okay, I was just looking at your dot and trying to see what was moving, so I set up.
I'm headed northwest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm headed towards 85.
Yeah.
And then I gotta come on back up to Mapleton by Six Flags. And I don't see no snow yet.
There's something there's something over here.
What is it?
What is that on the car? On the Corvette, it looks like it's a little ice.
Did you go and investigate the
Monroe? I did not. I went down to the garage.
Did you go gather any evidence?
Nope.
I don't see no flakes, no nothing.
I went down to the garage, okay, and while I was in the garage,
you saw 8 inches of snow.
and I see, and I seen like some ice film or something on top of the Firebird.
Did you see any on the truck?
No, I didn't see any on the truck.
And they're in the same general same place.
Right. You act like that's abnormal here in Georgia.
How come the truck ain't got none?
It ain't abnormal here in Georgia now. I done seen it rain on one side of the street and it did not rain on the other side.
But have you ever
So,
seen it rain on one side of the driveway and not on the other?
well, look, one car got ice, the other two do not. So you make it make sense. You tell me what's going on, okay?
What's going
Okay,
on?
what's going on?
Y'all been bamboozled. They got Walmart empty as hell.
You lying, babe. So you telling me I can't go my regular grocery shopping?
I was watching the news on the first customer. They watching too. They're like, look, he ain't sitting there. They're talking about Walmart. This Walmart has no produce, no shelves and everything.
I ain't going nowhere.
Everything.
Oops,
That
I'm
don't
not
mean
going.
Loganville. You can call up there. See if they answer the phone. Ask them y'all got some food on the shelves.
This is crazy.
I don't see nothing, man. It's a regular old damn day. It's almost 50 degrees.
Did you take out the chicken and stuff? I see you put the heat on.
I forgot.
Why you had me talking shit and the heat was on?
I came out the door. My mind was on how long I got to drive.
Okay, babe. No worries. I didn't take it out either. Honestly, I just
still got time to take it out. If not, I'll just pick one up at Walmart.
I'm thinking maybe if you can you just pick up that bird when you get your
I said I might as well pick up one of the rotisseries already cooked.
Yeah.
And then get some of that Red Lobster biscuit mix and some chicken broth, because I ain't seen no chicken broth.
Okay.
But that's gonna be a minute though, because I gotta get to stop number 3 before I go shopping. Get this shit done. Yeah, stop number 3, she said Post called them and said that she's being rescheduled. I said, they ain't tell me shit. And there was nothing on my damn app that says I was being rescheduled.
So you still going?
You know what I did.
What you did?
I can't say what I
did. Okay.
They can reschedule all they want.
Okay. Okay.
I told you what I started doing.
I know. All right. So.
And we can roll in the snow tomorrow. We can make some snowballs.
There's no snow, puppy. This is ice, Mira. You're not listening.
Make some ice balls.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm traumatized. I ain't going nowhere that slip and slide. Hold on. Let me get up. Damn, let's get on my damn bed. Shoot. Hold on 1 second. Let me look out this window right now. Let's see what's going on. Now, there ain't nothing going on. However,
y'all been played.
Not I.
I'm starting to catch on. This ain't the first time I seen this shit fake.
I told them they over there overreacting. People calling into the office to cancel. I got so many cancellations from patients for Monday. Oh, I'm not coming out there. It's an ice storm. I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. They're not coming point blank into the period. All right. Appointment canceled.
I think I better stop and piss. I'm coming up on 85. I better take my opportunity. Bridgeport. What's Bridgeport?
Oh, that's like Bridgeport, Connecticut.
No, it says Bridgeport. It must be a plant.
Oh.
I don't know what that is. All right, I'm ready to go ahead and pee right
All right. Okay, baby. Yes. Love you. Be careful.
All right, love you too. all the fucking parking spaces. They ain't got no parking spaces. So I'm just going to have to take one up. Go pay. Doing that like that. Oh. Okay. Let's continue. I don't see no snow, no. Nothing. Make your mind up, cuz. Make your mind up. Looks like a studio or an airport. That's what that is. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. 1, 2, 3. You ain't gonna make it.
Scott Jennings has a way of explaining things that even these woke CNN panelists don't want to debate.
I think what he's asking is, in our museums, what defines us? Are we going to be defined by the worst moment or the worst institution or the worst mistake we ever made? Or are we going to be defined by what we've done moving forward to get over it and to become the greatest nation on the earth? My belief is that he wants to look at these museums, not because he wants to do away with the idea that slavery occurred, but that he wants to ask a very simple question. Are we going to present ourselves as being exceptional or not? And I think he believes there is an effort by some to continue to try to define us from our worst moment instead of to try to focus and define us based on our best moments, which started when we eradicated slavery and began to move forward as the light of the world.
Scott Jennings has a way of explaining things that even these woke CNN panelists don't want.
Scott gave the most comprehensive take on this panelist's wild claim.
Every time Kash Patel opens his mouth, someone should play the Benny Hill theme, okay? There's career FBI agents chasing an active shooter, and this guy is chasing social media engagement numbers. I mean, there's shooters still on the loose, bro. Smash the like button. Here's my girlfriend. I mean, somewhere in hell, J. Edgar Hoover is wearing a dress, and he's appalled at what has happened to his bureau. And by the way, there's things in my fridge that'll last longer than Kash Patel in this job, and I can't wait to see how well the relationship works once he's not employed. This is an embarrassment to career FBI agents.
People keep telling me that they're not transparent, they're hostile. They keep doing interviews with anyone who will ask. And so you have a lot of transparency, A. B, in the case of Brown, the FBI is there assisting what is a local law enforcement situation. B, they're on a great run right now. They foiled the LA New Year's Eve terrorist plot, which was a huge deal. They caught the DC pipe bomber. I mean, the FBI is catching some bad guys right now, and we've got them and the ATF surging resources to Providence to assist in a local law enforcement situation. He taped an interview before this thing happened. I'm not sure what the big deal is.
Scott gave the most
Mr. Smith, did you make your case today? What about the?
What do you have to say to allegations that you defrauded the American people, Mr. Smith?
Can you expand on this idea that you said that you think you're going to be prosecuted? Can you expand on that a little bit?
President, sir?
Can you talk for a moment?
Did you defraud the American people? Do you think you're going to?
What about the idea that they were trying to pass this on? Mr. Smith, what about the idea that they were trying to put this on the U.S. Capitol Police?
Mr. Smith, did you break the law?
When do you think that you might hear from the Justice Department? Have you heard from the Justice Department yet? Excuse us.
Mr. Smith, did you think you would get away with breaking the law? No comment, sir. Did you commit perjury? Did you perjure yourself, Mr. Smith?
Well, Jack Smith spoke quite a bit in the hearing, but not so much in the hallway, despite the fact that he was getting some good questions thrown his way. Former Special Counsel Jack Smith wrapped up the testimony about his investigations into President Trump. Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram reporting live from Capitol Hill. And Chad, one of the things that he said was that he believed he will be indicted by the Justice Department, which is something that you were trying to get him to add a little bit more information to there. What's your takeaway, Chad?
Well, we pursued Jack Smith a couple of times as he came into the hearing room this morning, as he left this afternoon. No comments there whatsoever. At one point, Darrell Issa, the Republican representative from California, he said that he believes that Jack Smith committed perjury. Now, Republicans believe that this was a political investigation of President Trump about trying to subvert the 2020 election. Listen, this is Barry Moore, a Republican of Alabama.
Mr. Smith, your actions have changed and damaged confidence in our justice system. Today, this committee will determine whether that damage was a result of reckless judgment, political bias, or deliberate misuse of authority.
Now, President Trump put out a Truth Social post today. He indicated that he thought that Jack Smith was, quote, decimated in the hearing. He called him a deranged animal and also said he thought that the Department of Justice should, quote, take a look at Jack Smith. And there was this rather interesting exchange between Jack Smith and Becca Balint, a Democrat from Vermont, on that score today.
And Mr. Smith, do you believe that President Trump's Department of Justice will find some way to indict you?
I believe that they will do everything in their power to do that because they've been ordered to by the president.
Now, Jim Jordan, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, was pressed on that, whether or not he thought that there would be a criminal investigation of Jack Smith, and he deferred to the DOJ. Martha, back to you.
Thank you very much.
At this point, I want to turn now to President Trump's attacks on you. Trump has a playbook for how he handles people who try to hold him accountable. In August 2023, right after your office indicted him, President Trump shared that playbook on social media for everyone to see. He wrote, "If you go after me, I'm coming for you." Trump has said that you, Mr. Smith, should be investigated and put in prison. He called you a disgrace to humanity, a radical left Marxist, a criminal. In fact, Trump has used the words deranged Jack Smith 185 times on Truth Social. How do you think that these statements have impacted you, your staff, and your investigation?
With respect to me, I think the statements are meant to intimidate me. I will not be intimidated. I think these statements are also made as a warning to others what will happen if they stand up. And I am, as I say, I'm not going to be intimidated. We did our work pursuant to department policy. We followed the facts and we followed the law, and that process resulted in proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed serious crimes. I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen because he's threatening me.
Without objection, the chair now recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, I don't even know where to go because there's so much, Mr. Smith. There really is. But it isn't, what I do know is it's much more than how much people like or hate you, or like or hate Donald Trump, or like or hate Republicans, or like or hate Democrats. This is about the system. It's about what the Department of Justice did. It's about what you did. The core of the hearing is all about, can Americans still trust the justice system? Is it fair? Was it fair under you? And all they expect, they don't expect you to be perfect, but they expect you to treat everyone the same, Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives, but that wasn't the case. When you treat people differently because of their political status, their political party, their ideals, that's hypocrisy. And I'm sorry to say, and I don't say it lightly, I do consider you to be a hypocrite. With that being said, you know, I think the prosecutors and the people around you stretch norms, change standards depending upon who was under investigation. So you don't like Donald Trump, and so you're a liberal Democrat, whatever the case may be. And they went after him. And by the way, it's interesting, in all those congressional records that were subpoenaed, all those congressional records that were looked at, was one of them a Democrat? No. The answer is no. I'll answer for you. So I got simple questions. I always say I'm a simple guy, but it really boils down to this. How much can Americans trust this system? In your special counsel report, you stated President Trump engaged and was guilty of criminal conspiracies, and he was guilty of criminal conduct, and you publicly testified you believed you had the proof, etc. If prosecutors deal this way with cases, if they declare that it's guilty and it's over before a jury verdict, would Americans trust the justice system more, or would they? Would they trust the system more? The answer, go ahead, answer, please answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you were asking me.
So when this was all going on, before, and I believe it was political, before there was an entire case and we went through the whole case, you pretty much declared, and I'm not going to read the whole thing through again, that President Trump was guilty. That wasn't your job. That's a judge's job. It's a jury's job. It's not your job. Don't you think that's unfair, that's wrong, didn't make the playing field level? Did it make people less trustworthy of the system, yes or no?
No. When I announced the charges in the election case, I specifically stated that the case needed to be tried and that he had a right to go to trial and he was presumed innocent.
And thank you I just want a simple answer because we are limited on time. I disagree with you. I don't think you did. Your office secretly subpoenaed and got records of members of Congress. And you kept those subpoenas hidden through non-disclosure orders. That's wrong. They should have known. You want to do that, fine, it's wrong. Number one, it's wrong because people have a right, the American public has a right to know, the elected officials have a right to know. It's your right to subpoena them, but they should know. Secondly, and I brought this up before, not one Democrat, it's all Republicans, all Republicans. Everything you've done, everything you've ever done is always against Republicans. Do you think that puts more trust in the system when you're so partisan in that way? Yes or no?
No, politics played no role in our investigation. I have prosecuted Republicans and Democrats throughout my career. I have dismissed cases against Republicans and Democrats.
Because you didn't have the proof. If prosecutors routinely relied on politically imbalanced investigations, and by this I mean, let me appeal to your sense of fairness. You're saying you're a fair man. We had a January 6th committee, select committee, that was appointed only by a Democrat, the then Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Everybody on it was a Democrat, except 2 Republicans that hated Republicans. Was that fair? Was that fair? I mean, look at our system here in Congress. We've got Democrats, man, they speak up. You've got Republicans, we speak up. You hear both sides. That's the way a select committee should be. And you based everything upon this biased, unfair, prejudiced system. How is that fair? Tell me how that's fair.
That's not correct. We conducted an independent investigation.
You based a lot on that commission. That's got all their records.
That's not correct. We did collect their records. We conducted our own independent investigation following the facts and the law. The
and you used a lot of their information, Mr. Smith. I don't mean to cut you off. I've got limited time. Joe Biden took classified records that were not to be taken when he was vice president and when he was Senate. And I know you didn't deal directly with that case.
Mr. Chairman?
But nevertheless, he did. Is that fair? Because he let him go, don't do anything to him. But on the other hand, when it's President Trump who did it as president, then there was, you raided Mar-a-Lago. Is that fair?
I'm the gentleman.
Mr.
Gentleman's fired.
Well,
I'd like him to answer. If the witness would like to respond, he can.
I have no response.
It's damn unfair. That's the answer.
We've got UC request.
Joining me now is Sunday Night in America host and former federal prosecutor Trey Gowdy. Trey, it's great to see you here today. I don't profess to be an expert on the First Amendment, but I do happen to know a little bit about free speech and the constitutional history of free speech. Tell me about Jack Smith's argument that President Trump's words were not protected, that President Trump's words could be prosecuted because others acted criminally.
Yeah, I think among many other points, Will, that was a really weak theory. I'm a little surprised he went there. Literally, the speech at the ellipse was criminal, according to Jack Smith. So if you and I were to talk today and I were to say something and you were to go to rob a mini mart in Texas, I guess you would say that Trey provoked me to do that. It's a horrible legal thing. By the way, don't do that. It's a horrible legal theory. I'm surprised he went there. I think the better idea was from the moment of the election until the certification, there was a conspiracy. I'm not saying it's a good theory, but it's a better theory than the speech itself was criminal. Good lawyers know that it was not.
I would say almost every lawyer knows that it's not. And that kind of brings back into the motivations and intentions of Jack Smith. Surely he's a better lawyer. Maybe he was trying to advance a novel case on the limits of the First Amendment, Trey, but there's virtually all you have to do is read a little bit of court history, a little bit of precedent to understand the limitations on free speech. And it's got to be a direct incitement to violence. Nothing the president said that day, nor even the arguments made by Jack Smith, amounted to anything that previously would have been considered criminal or a limit on free speech.
To the contrary, the president used the word peaceful, which oftentimes gets left out when that clip is played. I think it is dumbfounding that Smith, I mean, there are a lot of things that I would have liked to have asked, that you and I may have asked if we'd been at this hearing. My top line takeaway, it is dumbfounding to me that you are starting with the speech and you view that as an overt act in this larger conspiracy, because you say no lawyer. There might be somewhere, one in a psychiatric unit somewhere, that thinks that this speech was criminal. But anyone who listens, look, I was listening live on air. I wasn't crazy about the speech. I thought he went after Tom Cotton, and he should not have. but it wasn't a criminal speech.
Well, and that's why I suggest either Jack Smith is a completely incompetent lawyer or he was motivated by something other than a rational application of the law. I do want to ask you about this. This is fascinating. Several Democrats, most of them members of the squad, joined with Republicans to advance contempt resolutions for Bill and Hillary Clinton. This is due to their failure to appear before Congress on the Epstein case. Now, Trey, this is the very same situation where we saw Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, held in contempt, taken to jail in some of those cases. Am I to expect then that these Democrats and a reasonable outcome could be the same for the Clintons?
Yes, you don't necessarily have to answer questions. You can assert privilege, although interesting, Counselor Kane, Congress does not recognize the same privileges that you and I recognized in court, but you can't not show up. And they just flat out did not show up. So that's bad faith. It is contempt of Congress. It'll be referred to the floor of the House. I'd be shocked if it were not referred to DOJ for prosecution. What this tells me is two things. The Clintons are expendable politically. They're yesterday's news. They don't care about them anymore. But more importantly, Democrats think this Epstein story is good for them. And if they are prosecuted, it stays in the public domain. And for some reason, Democrats think this story helps them.
More than the Clintons, to your point of them being expendable. That is what's interesting about Democrats holding the Clintons in contempt. Now it will be up to the greater House and the DOJ to see if we apply the same standards to Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro as we do Bill and Hillary Clinton. Great to see you, Trey Gowdy.
You too, Will. Thank you.
All right. You.
All right, let's bring in our chief congressional correspondent, Chad Pergram. He's standing by for us. Chad, quite a couple hours here. What are the top line takeaways from what we've heard so far?
Well, good afternoon, Sandra. No surprise, Democrats believe that Jack Smith was trying to uphold the rule of law, and Republicans say that this was a political witch hunt. They believe that there was kind of the fix-in by Jack Smith trying to go after President Trump. Jack Smith, he was investigating two things: the idea of having classified information at Mar-a-Lago in the bedroom, the ballroom, the bathroom, and also whether or not he tried to subvert the 2020 election. Jim Jordan is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Listen.
He's got to get President Trump. He's got to stop President Trump from tie him up in court. He's got to get to trial, or at a minimum, insert an 165-page political document into the presidential campaign. It was always about politics.
Smith had plenty to say during the hearing. Republicans asked if Smith had a vendetta against President Trump. The president just posted that Smith is, quote, being decimated in the hearing. He called him a, quote, deranged animal. He calls the investigation a Democrat scam. Smith was not talking when I confronted him in the hall before the hearing. You have any response to Republicans trying to undercut you in this hearing today? Mr. Smith, will you have any problem talking about the grand jury issue today? I know that that is something that's protected. Will you change your position on that as they probe your questions? Will you change your view on the grand jury information? Will you talk about that in the hearing? Now, Smith said he did not charge the president with insurrection despite what went down at the Capitol on January 6th, but he was confident of the charges he did file. Smith believed he could win a conviction had he taken the case to trial.
President Trump was charged because the evidence established that he willfully broke the law, the very laws he took an oath to uphold. Grand juries in two separate districts reached this conclusion based on his actions, as alleged in the indictments they returned.
Now, the big issue in this hearing is phone records and metadata. The idea that Jack Smith issued these subpoenas to sweep up the information, not eavesdropping, not wiretapping, but determining who President Trump was talking to and communicating with around January 6th. Metadata is where you get point-to-point communication. There were 9 Republican lawmakers who were kind of swept up in that dragnet, including Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, Tommy Tuberville, the Republican senator from Alabama, Mike Kelly, who is a Republican representative from Pennsylvania. And then there's this whole Kevin McCarthy question here. The subpoena suggested that Kevin McCarthy, 17 days after he had become Speaker of the House, maybe was a flight risk, and that's something that he was pressed about in the hearing by Brandon Gill, a Republican of Texas. Again, they're in a recess right now. We think they'll probably come back in about 5 minutes or so. This was just a bathroom